Saturday. I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about the hero's journey. I got a really wonderful message from a friend yesterday, and actually one of the nicest things anybody has ever said to me, that they thought I was what heroes are made of. Now, I 100% don't see myself in that light at all, but I sat down and I thought about it, and I think the point behind the message was that I've always lived my life very fearlessly, meaning that I don't hold anything back in any regard. If I feel a certain way or want to accomplish something or think something is possible, even if everyone around me doesn't believe in what I am doing and saying and creating, I 100% do it anyways. I've never allowed the voice of the collective or individuals that may doubt my vision cloud the direction that I'm going in. And the other thing I think is really poignant about any individual throughout history that, and I'm certainly not comparing myself to any important historical figures by any means, but if we look at some of the great individuals that have graced this planet, I do believe that in almost 100% of the circumstances and instances, these individuals have done and lived and existed from a place of absolute passion and knowing their purpose, their role, what journey they're on. They don't waver. They don't worry too much about what everybody else thinks, and they move forward through the operant power of something that just exists within them that they know has to be out manifest. And a lot of times these things that God has put inside of us are going to go against the grain. They're not going to be what everybody else is doing. And that's the challenge. Do you listen to that small, still voice inside of the self and do that thing that sets you on fire anyways, irregardless of what people are going to think about you? And I think that is the essential hero's journey that each and every one of us is on. We all have to be our own personal hero, because if we are looking outside of ourselves for a mentor or for, some sort of inspiration that is not tangible or not truly real, and we're always using that to essentially prop up what we are, we're never going to feel foundational, or we're never going to have that true strength within our own beingness. And I don't know why I've always been this way. Just, even from childhood, I was always that, really strange, nerdy kid that just did things 100% different. And for a long time in my life, I was not like the person that everybody wanted to be friends with, because I was never doing what the rest of society was doing. I was just always taking my own path. And trust me, it's been extremely hard to do what, the opposite of what everyone else, usually does. Because again, it's kind of that solitary journey. It's that singular path that most people are afraid to go down. And so I think when we hit this, audio might be a little glitchy because I got a phone call there, but the hero's journey is accepting yourself, but not just accepting yourself. It's loving yourself without ego. And so part of that heroic energy is that you know that whatever your gifts are, that extension of this beautiful energy that is only uniquely you, is a gift to all of mankind. It's this beautiful thing that God put inside of you that you are supposed to share. And in the extension, in the expansion of sharing that very beautiful part of yourself, you bless the world. And so it's different for everyone. Everybody has this unique element to them. I know for myself, it's very much my artistic abilities, my creative abilities, my ability to learn and synthesize information, and also my ability to channel things. And again, that everybody's gifts are going to be different depending on what God gave you. And so here's kind of an example or a situation where, again, going against the grain and doing the opposite of what everybody else around you is doing will again or may maneuver you into really interesting situations. Because again, when you're following that true core essence of who you are, when you're vibrating or in that flow state of your true authentic self, that's usually when things are magnetized toward you. So I'm going to use an example from high school. I was always, again, creating. I paint, I draw, I sculpt, all of these different things. And it's not that I didn't have time for like partying and, friend groups in high school and stuff. It was just that I had to, in terms of your gifts, you have to make a choice. You can't sometimes have everything. So I chose to create these beautiful works of art at night while I was in high school. And it was an amazing way that I was able to make money and do a lot of things that most young people never get to do. But again, there was a sacrifice in it. So I would go to school, and then every night I'd have a little nap when I got home from school, and then I would work. And it was like the Sistine Chapel. So we would go set up these scaffolds, and it would be big churches and huge homes, and it was plaster work. So I would work with like a fast set and a hard set plaster and sculpt these incredible murals. Sometimes it was Roman battle scenes or, almost life-size horses in these multi-million-dollar homes, and also relief murals on ceilings. So it was right up against the ceiling, working with carving tools. And of course it was extremely exhausting because I had to work night shifts, and I would work from 8 p.m. at night till 3 a.m, catch a few extra hours of sleep, and then go to high school again. And I mean, at that point, I was making more money than my parents, and it was a very, very cool experience, but it was absolutely the opposite of what everybody else was doing in high school. And so again, because of that, I was very misunderstood from a lot of individuals. They didn't understand, what I was up to. And also because I was kind of at this like high level of, dealing with home builders and at such a young age, kind of, really creating these very intricate works of art, I wasn't your average 15-year-old, right? And so I had this incredible education in terms of, dealing with high-level businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses, and really getting to know all of the trades and all of the things that were not your typical high school, activities, right? And so there's always going to be a trade-off. When there's something that you want, or if there's a journey that your soul has to take, a lot of times you're going to have to choose. There's, left or right. And I made that choice in high school. I opted to go the path less traveled. I didn't have time to hang out with my friends. I wasn't able to do, my teenage years. I focused on my passions, and I focused on taking that which was the source of my joy, and stepping away from the things that everybody else was doing. I didn't go out to parties. I wasn't drinking. I really didn't even, actually, here's the truth, I didn't even have a boyfriend in high school. Isn't that terrible? But anyways, I didn't have time for it. And what it gave me, though, was this incredibly diverse and broad spectrum understanding of the world. I met so many amazing people because, of course, I was working in these multi-million-dollar homes. I was meeting just these incredibly successful, but not just successful, intelligent people that had transformed the landscape of whatever industries they were in. They were just some of the most dynamic people, really in all of Calgary or around, Western Canada. And as, of course, these were the type of people that would commission huge murals like this. A piece would be anywhere from $15,000 to sometimes $40,000, right? And so, again, it was such an amazing experience. But the reason that I am telling this story is that in terms of one's own journey, there's no right or wrong, okay? I'm not saying that, my friends that decided to just have that normal adolescent experience and, spent most of their junior high and high school days and kind of whatever college days partying. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm sure that they had a ton of fun, and they have friendships that will last a lifetime, and those are things that I had to forego along the way. I didn't have time in chasing that dream that I had of pursuing my art, my artistic abilities, and building businesses. I just couldn't allow my body and mind to not be clear. And whenever I remember actually, going out a few times and in high school, and I just felt so not well after doing that. And I just thought, oh my God, there's no way I can work this into this schedule that I have. And I was just so immersed in what I was creating, whether it was, a big band of horses or, a Grecian goddess. I remember going back, if I go back to those days and, flipping through, I'd go to the libraries and I'd get these volumes of books, and I would just be looking at the old, Grecian sculptures and statues, and many of them I recreated. Now with the relief mural, it's a half mural. So again, you're putting that sculpture onto a surface. And so it's not fully three-dimensional. But I don't want to get into that too heavily, because that's another topic altogether. But the core message is, when you are chasing your dreams, you have to realize that there are going to be things that fall by the wayside. If you look at people like Steve Jobs or Elon Musk or, Oprah Winfrey, any of these really amazing human beings that have just created such massive change on the planet, they have to forgo that regular lifestyle. And there's some pain in it, if, at the end of, I know Steve Jobs' life, he had a lot of revelations and things where he maybe felt like he was, maybe too much pedal to the metal, those kind of things. But I also feel that there are incarnations, there are times when you come to just give everything that you are, and unless you have that spirit of being 100%, Jobs had done even 20% less with his team, there may not be Apple, there may not be smartphones, there may not be the interconnectedness that we see today in our everyday lives. So it's, and here's the thing too, and I want to put a caveat to this: to be that hero or that heroine, I don't want to say heroine, but anyways, you know what I mean. It's also on a sliding scale. You can be a father or a mother, and you can be that hero to a young life. You can give everything in that position that you're holding, and it is just as equally as important as that person that, you know, is in the public eye. It is all about how you are showing up in your life and what energy you're bringing to each and every moment. And if that energy is flowing from the heart, because again, I feel that passion and purpose truly is not logical, it's illogical. It comes from the heart space. It's like this, it's like an explosion that just can't be stopped. I don't know another way to, it's like a chain reaction. It just sort of reverberates out. And when you allow yourself to dive into that thing, it almost you can't hold it back, right? And so I feel like for a lot of people too, because it's really as well, it's showing yourself in a very raw, real, almost naked way, okay? And again, I was discussing with a friend about music, and a lot of people, they're afraid to share their gifts because they think that the world is going to reject their gifts. And what I can tell you about that as well is that the amount of rejection that I have come across in terms of the things that I love is tremendous. I have been rejected over and over and over and over again by the world. That's irrelevant. Eventually, the right people are going to see what you're about if you just keep doing what makes you happy. Don't worry about what the perception is. Don't worry about what everybody else is evaluating you by. That's themselves. That's their own journey. If what you are creating makes you fucking happy, and when you're doing it, the whole world melts away because it's just that good, that the feeling of creating is that good, then that's what you're supposed to be doing, bar none. And you just have to accept that journey of self-fulfillment. You just have to realize that what you are transmuting, the output of you has to bring you joy. If you are frustrated with the path that you're walking, it's the wrong path. If you get into your daily grind and it feels like a grind, it's probably the wrong path. I don't go to work ever and feel like it's a grind. I get excited to go to work. If, I never feel like, oh, I just wish I could play hooky. I just wish I didn't have to show up there today. Never. I mean, there's stress for sure, but it's like fun stress. And the element of creation that I get to play with is just like, it's so fun. It's just like whatever my brain imagines. Okay, poof, I'm gonna do that. Okay, I'm gonna create that. Okay, I want to do a clothing line. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. And I am 100% the captain of my own vessel. And it's really amazing. And I created that because I chose the path I wanted, because I didn't listen to everyone else's opinion of how my life was gonna play out. It's my life, and it's not about ego, and it's not about selfishness, and it's not about thinking you're all that. I want to really put a caveat on this, okay? It's not about saying like, oh, I'm all that, I'm a bad bitch, I can do all these things. No, it's not about that. It's humbling yourself to be in service of others, of course your gifts, but in absolute gratitude, knowing that if you have gifts to share, that those things that have been given to you are God-given, and that glory should be given to Spirit. It's not that, again, we're talking about the hero's journey. It's not that you become self-inflated. You simply realize the beauty of the journey. You simply realize how grateful you are for every aspect of everything you've been given. You don't allow any of the external factors to tarnish, taint, or dim the light that is within you, because God is within. I'm not saying that we adopt the ego mindset where we think or we become grandiose and we think we are God. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that in everything that we do, we have a humility, we have a grace, but we have a passion. Okay? And that is the really intricate mixture of what the alchemy of what the love and the light energy is. It's that maternal, the eternal maternal energy, the eternal paternal energy, Mother and Father God coming into oneness and flowing through you, and is not self-inflated. It's every individual that we can look up to is also serving the collective, is also serving a grander purpose. And in that servitude, in that grace, they become elevated because, again, they are not self-elevating. And I know that this is confusing because we think of, when we're talking about things in terms of these word forms, when we talk about being a hero, it feels like it's a sense of self-inflation. It's a knowingness, it's a confidence, it's a strength, but it should never be entitlement or false bravado or anything that would diminish another. I think that's the best way to put it. When you are being something that is really authentic and really real and really encompassing that energy of loving expression, it will never ever seek to diminish another individual. And that's what I see a lot of in like popular culture, is it's kind of like this bragging energy, or like this false, like, I'm all that energy. And to me, that it's like totally egoic, and you know that it's not built on a very strong foundation. Ego needs to hear it. Ego needs to hear, I'm amazing, I'm great, I'm fantastic, oh my God, I'm so amazing, like all of these different things, right? It needs to extract its confidence from the external world. Authenticity, that which is real, is just in the flow state. It's just existing because that is what it is. And by way of that, it's an extension, it's an expansion. And when other individuals get to be around it, or to grasp it, or to experience it, it's only going to be uplifting. And it's also going to, a lot of times, be out-focused in a way that it, by its very nature, wants to lift others up. And that's what it should be. You know, it should always be mirroring back to the external world this beautiful ascension type energy. So I'm gonna cut this video short. I've kind of been rambling a little bit here, but it's extremely cold, so there's not really much for me to do other than, you know, plunk away at my computer anyways this weekend. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I will likely make another. So have a great week.